got Mark from Business Great Southern with me tonight, and our very special guest, which I advertised, and he is very, very special. So this is Conrad from First Reef. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Conrad, tell us a little bit about what First Reef is all about.
So First Reef Studio is a new venture for myself and my partner Michael Dolphin. We're a marketing and website design business based in Denmark, next to the Barber on South Coast Highway. I've been in Denmark for 16 years and have been in this industry and been building websites for about 12 of those. We do website design, marketing, copywriting, photography, and we also build cloud applications.
That's a good segue.
That's pretty interesting. And Conrad was actually upskilling us today in our video setup, and so we were relying on some of his sort of. I know he put us in line. I got a little bit nervous. I was like, oh, I've got to up my game here. No, it's fantastic to have you, and the main reason, as Conrad says, why we're here today is to talk about clouds, cloud-based platforms, and that's why Mark was like, let's invite Conrad, and I was like, great idea. So,
well, because it would be you and I just arguing, talking a load of rubbish.
So I am the referee.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And then nothing would really get solved.
Well,
and we'd make some mistakes.
I don't think that's the goal of the evening.
No, that's right. Well, it isn't now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the first place to start is at the very basic, is like cloud platforms. What the heck are they? What are cloud platforms?
Right. So essentially, if you're working from home or working externally from an office, there's a few things that you need to know about.
Or if you're working in your office with a group of people.
Yeah.
If you're working anywhere on a computer, really.
It's just working. Just working. So it's essentially it's online file storage. So that you can share it and you can move it around and you can go between your computer and your phone and your laptop and your tablet. So that's what the cloud is. That it's all uploaded into the cloud, and it saves you having to have all this on-site storage facility. It's kind of like an off-site. You're shipping everything off-site, and then you're accessing it anywhere you want.
Yeah, and what I love about it as well is you pretty much have access to it anywhere if you have access to the internet.
Yeah.
So whereas sometimes if you have servers and things that lie within your business, then those are usually attached to a network that happens inside the room. The cloud exists if you have access to the internet.
And it allows you not to carry around thumb drives anymore.
Yes.
Because you just go online.
Yeah.
Straight from your phone, you can send it.
Yeah.
It's easy.
If you don't mind me just adding to that as well, the cloud also encompasses any applications that you use through your browser. So my online, for example, would be a cloud application that you use. But I think tonight we're talking about specifically storage.
Yeah, I was thinking storage and like function. What I don't know. I mean, I could tell what what we use our cloud for, So we can kind of segue into like all the functions of like a cloud-based platform.
Oh yeah.
And the list is endless, really. I mean, what do you use cloud-based platforms for in your business?
So project management is a big one. That's where I spend quite a lot of my time. And then there's obvious ones like Gmail. We use Google for Business. Mm-hmm. We use wireframing tools. We use graphic tools. We use and then obviously the storage tools as well. And more services are being made available online. Really, it's about network speeds, and that's really nowadays that's a limiting factor. Because cloud computing is getting so powerful and so fast. So.
Yeah. What sort of functions do you use cloud-based platform for?
Mine's for absolutely everything. So if we just, a file is being saved so that we can just pick it up at a later date, we just put it onto the cloud rather than putting it onto internal storage, just so that it can be accessed anywhere. Because obviously Business Great Southern, we cover the Great Southern. So if everything is all in one place, which we can get to really easily for information for people, it just saves us having to go back to the office and go into that network, print it out or email it across. We're just there and then here it is, they're done.
Yeah.
It takes it off of our desk, which is quite important because obviously then we've got more time, but it also gives people information a lot quicker and they feel more confident as well having this information.
Yeah. Yeah, and here at the chamber, I usually use it for like our active projects that we have going on. So as a project manager, in order to communicate with whoever our project staff is. But I also love it too because when it comes to marketing and promotions, I find that using that cloud to house my photos actually helps me specifically for Instagram posts. So I can dump photos from my desktop into my cloud, and then I have access to those for Instagram and social media and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Just a question on that. Do you edit your photos on your desktop using an application, or do you edit them in the cloud?
I don't edit them generally.
Okay.
Well, but I'm talking like copy. So yeah, we would edit it. Say we wanted to do like a post, and we put a poster, an Instagram post together on Canva. Like then, I know Canva now, you can share it instantly, but sometimes you don't want to use that for a while. And so then that photo can get dropped into the shared drive and then be uploaded from on my mobile, which Instagram tends to like, from my cloud or the shared drive into Instagram.
Yeah, and interesting you mentioned Canva as well as a cloud application for editing images. It's a Perth-based company.
Yes.
Started in Perth, and it's a fantastic example of a cloud-based application.
Gosh, you're blowing my mind because I wouldn't have characterized like the MyOb and the Canva and that sort of stuff as a cloud-based. Like when I think of cloud-based, I think of Dropbox and OneDrive and G Drive, but those I guess more are like storage, as you said, or project management or those sorts of things.
Yeah, and especially with the Canva, for example, as you're right, I mean, it's a Perth-based company, which is phenomenal because we're then supporting WA, but at the same time, you don't save. When you're working on Canva, you don't never hit that save button, so it's automatically being uploaded to a cloud for you, so you can just access it at any time. And I use Canva very much the same way as you do for my files. I'll actually download the files into the cloud, and then I'll mess around on Instagram on my phone because I personally find that's easier. Yeah. So I'll do a whole heap of like posts or whatever, I'm creating an ad or just something new on Canva, put it into the cloud, and then I'll do all the writing over the top and the tags and all that on the phone.
Yeah, I did that for when I was on Festival of Voice because we were creating a heap of similar copy, but then needed to release it at a later date. And it's like, from a desktop, you can't, well, it was 2 years ago, you couldn't necessarily shoot out Instagram. So I always found that to be really helpful, a way to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, So we've got a couple people watching. Do you guys have any questions?
What storage app is best for saving large images but needing to share with clients as a private document?
Oh yeah, that's
a good question.
Pictures.
Is that Jenny?
Jenny,
I'm going to say Dropbox. But that's only because, and I'm not a huge Dropbox fan, but it's been around for so long in that space, in that graphic space especially. It just does what it is. Yeah. Am I right? Would Dropbox be the best one for doing it?
So we've got one vote for Dropbox.
Well, but aren't there like one-offs? Like if you're just doing like a one-off, I mean, our designer quite often will send us large designs through Hightail.
Yep, Hightail's another one. And often a lot of video editors who will use Hightail because it's very high capacity and quite effective. I think that, well done.
What do you say?
Well, I'm actually with Mark. I actually use Dropbox, even though I am in the Google ecosystem, if you like. I do use Google Drive for storing a lot of our business and operational documentation and images. But then if I do want to share things with clients and I want to share things outside the organisation, I do use Dropbox. It's the usability is great, and it's it's everyone knows it. Not everyone, but it's an easy one to explain to people.
But the only problem with Dropbox is the free version of it. It's really small capacity, and then it gets quite expensive if you want higher capacity after that. But it does the job. It's kind of designed for that. It's pretty secure. It just depends on how much you're willing to spend, I guess.
Well, and you can, like you say, that free version is quite limited in size. You can, by using a referral link, you can actually earn yourself 500 meg per referral. So you can actually build that capacity up to about 16 meg. But at the end of the day, it's if you want to just share a file, you can use Dropbox to manage the sharing of the files, and then you can take the files down once they've been downloaded by the other party who wanted to access those files. So like Mark says, a little bit more expensive if you're going to be storing and backing up, but just for sharing, you can upload things, share it, and then
So you're saying, like in Jen's case, where she's saying, some stuff for a client, which is photos, you can use it as essentially a temporary storage device.
Absolutely.
You use the free one as a temp, so it's easily accessible by other people, but then have your own cheaper version somewhere else, which is probably not as common.
And you've got to watch with Dropbox. There can be some issues if someone does share. If you're in a professional capacity, if you have a client or a contractor sending you and sharing you a document which is bigger than the capacity of your account, that can cause issues. You won't actually be able to access all of the files in that folder. So there's checks and balances vagaries with all of these services.
And somebody said Rob said Google Docs.
Yeah, I think Google Docs is a great way to share as well.
Yeah, it depends what you're sharing. Google Docs is so Google Drive is the sharing application, and Google Docs is obviously you've got the Google spreadsheet and Google Word document. We use that internally more than we do with external. So that's
I've shared some files. I love creating. I love G Drive as well.
You love G Drive. You are the biggest fan of G Drive.
Well, I like it because I can create folders. So if I did have multiple documents that I needed to share, then I could actually share folders across. And I actually have shared videos with you, and so I can continually add to that folder, and then whatever I add to that folder, the person that I shared with can see, and I just love that. And then I can actually see when they're in there as well.
Okay.
And you can actually, what's lovely about G Drive is you can see where people are even moving. Say you're working in a spreadsheet separate from whoever you're sharing with, and you can see how they move around. So you can have a phone conversation and they can be looking at the same thing, and then you can move your cursor around, and it's easy.
You just love it.
It's just too easy. I'm sure I could get to know another program, which you prefer.
Really, but the thing is with G Drive, you're saying it's all that's going on, but that isn't really the storage device. That's the app.
But it's all together, right? So I've got my business listing on there. I've got my YouTube channel. I've got the G Drive. I've got the photos that I can just smash it from my phone into there, which then gives me instant access to manage that. So I mean, setting aside the ethics of the company, it's so user friendly, and it's all connected to Google. So I really like it just because it's so user friendly. It's ultra connected, so you can actually set up quite a few things in just that little icon corner. And then I just love managing my projects from it as well, because you can drop in and then you can create files. So it's a really live sort of living thing for me. Whereas, we're kind of archaic in a way here, that we do have a hard drive. We do have a server in-house, but any live projects I have going on, I use G Drive, and then we just dump everything into the server. So we don't pay for that, So when we talk about, paid versus non-paid and the functionality, will you guys have any?
Well, I'm a big fan of OneDrive.
Let's talk about OneDrive.
It's very similar to the Google side, but OneDrive I always find is really good because I'm working on a Windows-based program.
Yes.
So everything's there. I upload to OneDrive instead of like a C drive or a K drive or whatever you have to go around your office, and it just automatically goes into it, and you treat it exactly the same way as you're just saving it on your desktop. Then you've got access to Microsoft Teams, so you can start chatting. You've got Yammer, which is a part of that. If you're a bigger company or you want to create a CRM system, you've got Dynamics 365, and all this Office 365 kind of seamlessly comes together. So you're not having to worry about going to a separate drive, like with the G drive, which is brilliant, but you've got to move it to the Google Drive from Windows, or you've got it set up in your system.
Well, so you can create documents in the G drive as well.
Yeah, but then you're playing on 2 different platforms, and I just like one. I'm just basic. So there it is, and then it uploads. But the problem with OneDrive, I find, is certain documents won't upload and sync straight away. So I have to go online on my desktop and go sync every now and then, depending on what the file is. And I don't know why that is. It seems a glitch. I've had people looking at it. But,
And do you find, because I find with Google, a lot of people are using it, and so are there a lot of people? Is it the same? Like a lot of the people,
OneDrive. OneDrive, absolutely.
Okay.
And again, anybody can get into these files at the same time as you and make those adjustments. You just can't see them moving around. But it's really easy to share internally. Externally, though, not as easy. So that's where the G Drive has it. I think it's that external sharing that's personally live.
It's not really a contest, but
no,
we're just talking.
No, but I want to win.
What did Jen say at the bottom here? So
for storing, is an external terabyte still a good option cost-wise? Oh, yeah.
Conrad,
you've got one, right?
you brought in a list of prices and stuff, like you had done a little bit.
So what Jen's actually talking about obviously is the physical hard drive, and when you mentioned you've got a hard drive here, I was actually going to ask you, have you got a backup?
We've got 2 backups.
Right.
One is in one place, and one is the other. Both are in actually areas in houses that are in high fire areas, but we won't talk about that.
Okay.
One lies on Wheaton Hill, and the other one is over by Wilson Bank.
So your insurance broker's not watching this.
Yes, sorry. Oh gosh.
So in answer to your question, it is, but then it raises that question about backing up.
Exactly.
When you've got hardware fails. It's just the nature of very complicated systems. So I would say that it is. And what you can actually do is have, and what a lot of people do, is you actually have a physical hard drive, which may be a terabyte, maybe a couple of terabytes, but then you will actually also be backing up to a cloud storage solution. And that way, belts and braces, which is the best way to go with backing up, particularly if this is something that's either personally really important to you or the data is important, obviously, to your business. So.
Now, on that question, like a lot of people are using Macs versus whatever Windows based.
Versus whatever. Is there another? Are there 2 options?
I thought you were going to say Linux for a moment. I was going to be very impressed.
But,
I'm not sure many of our businesses are on Linux. No.
Apple versus everything else, right? So
that's
what it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm an Apple fan. I've got everything Apple. But when it comes to my business stuff, because I'm terrible with a Mac. But I know a lot of people do use a Mac. Apple iCloud, really expensive. And it just seems to be getting more and more expensive, and the data seems to be getting smaller and smaller because Apple's Apple, right? How would somebody who's on and storing everything up to iPad suddenly change and go, well, I want to go to G Drive or I want to go to OneDrive? How would they go about doing something like that?
So the way that I would approach it, obviously Apple iCloud syncs, and I think the point that you're making, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the point you're making is that Apple iCloud really is focused on individuals. It's about personal use, unless you're a high-end photographer and you're willing to pay, the upper end of everything for your gear and also for your storage. External sharing is difficult from iCloud, so these other solutions are definitely the way to go. The way that I would approach that is with your iCloud, which is synced to your computer, your Apple computer. I would install either Dropbox or I'd install Google Drive. I'm not sure about OneDrive on Apple.
I don't think you could, because it's that's a Microsoft program.
I don't know. Maybe someone can tell us in the comments. But And then it would be a process, unfortunately, of dragging and dropping from one to the other, where Dropbox and Google Apps or Google for Business have really stepped up their game. Last year was you can now download native apps for your computer. So it means instead of having to try and work your way through the Google for Business file structure or the browser-based Dropbox file structure, which I just find both of those unwieldy. That's always been a bugbear of mine. Yeah. Last year they both released apps that you can install on your computer and you use it as if you're in your own Finder window, which effectively you are. But it's a drag and drop. That's how I would approach it. I'm very happy to hear of other ways that other people have done it. So
because I don't just know that, and I've seen it with a lot of, especially small businesses, that, they're working from home. They've got their personal Mac or personal laptop, and they're using that for business as well. So in the case of the Mac, it's all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, well I haven't got enough storage for my work, and I still need this for personal. So that really helped. For them to get it around their head of, I have to go online and I download an app, which it might be Dropbox or G Drive or Google. Essentially, set up a Google account, right?
Yep.
Set up a Google account, and then you can kind of play with it, and it will take you through steps. Is that right?
Or downloading it's very straightforward. Once you've downloaded the app and installed it on your computer, you basically log into your Google account, and then that will sync with your Google account and your computer. The other way to approach it, if you have got lots of photos or videos, things that you don't want to necessarily have in the cloud, is again, like Jenna said, is to have an external hard drive. You can plug that in and that will effectively expand your storage space on your computer. So when you need to access those files, you can plug in the hard drive and then use them as if they're actually on your computer. So
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, we've got one more cloud base that you've got on there. And
I wrote down Box. So not many people know a Box. Conrad knows a Box, but has never used it.
I've never used it.
I've never used it either, but I've seen it floating around.
Well, great. Let's talk about it then, because we all sound like we're experts on it, really.
I had a bit of a nosy around the interweb because I'm an old man. What's going on there with those youths? No, Box I found out was really designed for technical people, so like yourself. And it was really easy to use if you were technical, but if you weren't and you were just a normal person, it was terrible. Personal opinion, obviously nothing against Box and stuff, but it was really cheap as well. So you had to offset that, and I think that it was cheaper because it was so technical, and it was to help out the industry, or as you said, like yourself, who's always in the computer and playing in the back end, or somebody who's working on digital marketing and they're always like big files and all that sort of stuff. But, so for the basic business, personally, I wouldn't look at Box.
Cool. Well, that's a good review on that.
There you go. I just sort of throw it out there. We have 5 then.
Yeah.
So cool. We covered Dropbox, OneDrive, Google or G Drive.
Yeah.
Apple.
It's
Hightail got mentioned.
Hightail got mentioned.
Yeah.
Tell us about Hightail.
So Hightail's been around for a long time. In terms of the interwebs, it's been around for a long time. And again, very easy to set up. And it's at a price point that is based around being able to share large files. So fast servers, it's fast to upload depending on your connection, obviously, and then fast to download for your clients. You can set time limits. You can set time limits that a link will be live that you can download, also number of downloads, etc. So it's more specialised in terms of what it offers, but it's definitely worth looking at if you're sharing one-off large files, like you said.
Too easy.
Talking of fast speed connection, and this kind of bounces back to the MBN talk we had the other week.
Last week.
Last week.
3, 2.
Wherever it's gone. So something was mentioned in one of the other workshops which was done, and that was that internet speeds are up and down and all that sort of stuff, and your download speed versus your upload speed. And most packages, doesn't matter what the service provider is, they'll tell you what that should be. So it might be like 40 down and 10 up. So that's kind of like a standard thing. If your internet is really, really slow, do a speed test. Just do a speed test. And if you don't know how to do one, Google speed test. You can hit any one under the ads probably are the better ones, and just test it. And if you're constantly getting really slow results, contact your service provider, because way back when the NBN came out, it was this whole thing of everybody must have it, but then a lot of the service providers didn't actually tell you that you had to change your package. They just kind of carried on it. You've got NBN, so it's going to be quicker, and everybody suddenly found it was going slower. But it wasn't. You're not on the right package. And there's a lot of packages out there now which are cheaper and you get faster speed. So it's kind of like just checking your insurances every year, just going, am I paying the right amount for what I'm getting? So just do a speed test. If you're not happy, contact your service provider and say, look, I'm not happy with this. This is the speed I'm getting. This is what my package is saying. What better package can you do?
Yeah.
And the old truism that because it's raining in Denmark, your internet goes slower doesn't exist anymore. So.
I have one last thing that I wanted to kind of throw out there, I think, unless this leads to another one last thing. Desktop versus mobile in regards to share drive. Like, is OneDrive mobile as well?
Yeah, it's on my phone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay. And it's the same, so there's almost no difference really.
They all offer specific apps for Android and Apple phones. Yeah, amazing.
And that's a really good point as well. Apple and Android phones, because obviously they're different companies, different programming systems. So if you're going to pick a cloud base, pick one which will work with what you're using.
Cool.
Right.
Wow.
That was like a genius moment.
Well,
great. I like cloud based.
I'm serious though. Like really?
Who am I?
No, well, we would find ourselves at that crossroad and be frustrated. You just saved, I don't know how many people that frustration by just mentioning that.
So if you've got a Mac, don't even bother looking at OneDrive, because that's really Windows based. If you've got a desktop, go for it. But Mac, more you Google, as Conrad was saying.
But G Drive can be used on Android as well.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
And I can use
same company.
Google.
I can use my Mac computer at work and my Android phone
it's G-Drive.
and use G Drive.
Google.
Yeah.
It's Google, but it's not as. No, I didn't.
Well, I don't know if you guys have we exhausted the conversation? Is there anything that is burning inside of you guys that you need to let out in regards to cloud-based platforms?
Look, for me, it's do your research of what you really want when it comes down to security, all of that sort of stuff, how many files you're going to store, what sort of size, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte you need, and look at the different options which are going to work, but choose for you, don't choose by the masses. That's probably mine.
And I would just say that most of these services, they have a free tier, so you can try it out, be prepared to install, and don't be scared to uninstall things and back up.
What's the pricing? What do you understand prices?
Yeah, so roughly you're looking, if you think about $100 per terabyte, Google is cheaper at about $80 per terabyte. There are unlimited plans on OneDrive, but you have to have at least 5 people on the plan to get, the pricing isn't necessarily simple, but you look at Google is probably the cheaper, OneDrive is probably the most expensive, and you'd have your Dropbox sitting roughly in the middle.
So somebody's storing a terabyte's worth of stuff. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it'll take you a while to get there, unless you're just uploading your entire camera roll from your 100D.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I learned a lot tonight.
I did too. I learn a lot all the time on these talks. I love it. And thanks for Mark to join us from Business Great Southern. I know. Bleh, get it out. And Conrad from Third Reef. First Reef.
Not Third Reef. And just letting you know, our business centre and business person, we use Conrad as well. So and he's always been excellent.
And he's just right on South Coast Highway, so you can connect with him there, or through the Chamber website, or through his. I'm sure he has a fantastic website.
Website? I haven't done that yet. No, you can.
Is it firstreef.com.au?
It is. And thank you for having me. I'm impressed. There was no blood, no punches thrown.
No.
We haven't got a clear winner, but well done.
And thanks for helping us upskill our video, our live videos. And thanks everyone for joining us. Until next time, we'll see you. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.